Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really diving into a monumental moment, the parting of the Red Sea from Exodus 14.
Absolutely. A cornerstone event.
And we're not just, retelling the story. Our aim is to pull out those core principles, faith, obedience, that speak directly to you, walking in the Spirit today.
That's right. Picture this. It's 1446 BC. Israel's just fled Egypt after the plagues, but freedom, it's not looking easy.
No.
Pharaoh's heart is hardened just as God planned, and he's coming after them. We're talking 600 elite chariots. Israel is, well, they're trapped. Red Sea in front, Egyptians behind.
A complete dead end, militarily speaking, cornered.
Totally cornered. The enemy closing fast.
So the stage is set for something impossible. And the anchor for our discussion today, that incredible promise, the Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace.
That verse is key. Because this whole historical event, escaping slavery in Egypt, it's really the blueprint, the foreshadowing of our own deliverance from being enslaved to sin.
So we're looking for those aha moments, things that challenge us, you listening, to live holy, to press forward in faith, especially when the enemy seems overwhelming, when turning back feels tempting.
Exactly. That's the mission.
Okay, let's unpack that first moment of crisis then. Exodus 14, verse 10. Israel looks up, sees Pharaoh's army marching towards them, and the reaction.
Instant panic.
Yeah.
Pure, paralyzing fear.
Which immediately sours into complaint, right?
Yeah.
They turn on Moses, dripping with sarcasm, asking if there weren't enough graves back in Egypt.
Yeah, did you bring us out here to die?
It's bitter. And what's really fascinating psychologically is how fast they want to abandon ship.
Abandon the salvation they just witnessed.
Right. Their gut reaction is, let's go back, let's surrender and serve the Egyptians again. They preferred the known misery of slavery over the terrifying uncertainty of the situation.
But hang on. Slavery. How could they seriously think that was better than this, even in panic? It just shows the depth of their doubt, doesn't it? The trial hits, and suddenly captivity looks rosy. They even start claiming they told Moses back in Egypt to just leave them alone to serve Pharaoh.
Wow.
But the text doesn't record any such complaint when things seem to be going okay when the escape first started. Their fear is literally rewriting their own history, their own conviction.
They forgot the miracles, the Passover, the freedom they craved.
Completely blanked on it. It's a really chilling parallel for us, when our spiritual journey gets hard. How tempting is it to forget the freedom we found in Christ and start kind of romanticizing the old life of sin, even though it was bondage?
Yeah, that pull is real.
It is. But Moses steps in. Verses 13 and 14, he gives 3 commands, and these are so relevant for you today. First, fear ye not. Stop the panic.
Okay.
Second, stand still.
Yeah.
Hold your ground spiritually. Don't give in. Don't retreat back to what you were delivered from.
Don't surrender.
Exactly. And third, see the salvation of the Lord. Watch what God is about to do, their job, simply to hold their peace. God himself promised to handle the fight.
That's incredible assurance. But then, here comes this amazing tension in the text. Moses says, stand still. But God immediately asks Moses, why are you crying out to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward.
Yes.
So what gives? Stand still, but go forward. How does that work?
This tension is, I think, the theological core here. It's about internal posture versus external action.
Okay.
God is shifting them from just crying out in fearful passivity to moving in active, obedient faith. Stand still is about that inward trust, that surrender, holding your peace before God.
The internal state.
But go forward is the external command. Move. Act on God's word even when the direction he points you seems utterly impossible, like walking straight towards a massive body of water.
So stillness isn't about doing nothing. It's the inner trust that actually fuels the outward obedience.
Beautifully put. Exactly. When you achieve that inner stillness, that trust, you're actually empowered to take the next step God commands, no matter how illogical it seems to your human mind.
And this whole situation leading them to this apparent dead end, hardening Pharaoh's heart, it wasn't accidental.
Not at all. It was strategically orchestrated by God. The entire setup was designed for something much bigger than just getting Israel safely across.
And that was God's glory.
Maximum glory. God explicitly says he designed this so he could get honor, that amazing Hebrew word kabod. It means his weight, his significance, his majesty upon Pharaoh and all his chariots, his entire army. God intended for the Egyptians to follow them into the trap.
Wow.
And this really raises a profound point for us, for you listening. Sometimes, maybe often, God allows these overwhelming, inescapable trials into our lives precisely because our deliverance from them will bring him the greatest kabod. It displays his power, his reality, when he alone rescues us from what we absolutely cannot handle.
So our trials aren't just hurdles. They're potential showcases for God's power. His goal was clear. He wanted both Israel and Egypt to know definitively that he is Yahweh, the I am.
hmm If he just, teleported them away secretly, the lesson wouldn't have hit nearly as hard. The public demonstration was crucial.
Okay, so that display of power then moves into the actual mechanics of the deliverance, starting around verse 19. How did God manage this physically?
Well, the angel of God, who represents God's own presence, and that pillar of cloud that had been leading them, they shifted position from the front of the camp, went around and planted themselves behind Israel.
Between Israel and the Egyptians.
Exactly. Functioning as this divine wall, a protective barrier made of God's very presence.
That's incredible imagery, a wall of presence.
And it was selective.
Mm.
For the Egyptians, the cloud brought impenetrable darkness. It stopped their chariots dead in their tracks all night long. Total confusion. But for Israel?
Light.
Light. They were kept safe, probably warm, illuminated by the very same presence that was baffling their enemies.
And this actually fulfills Moses' promise back in verse 13. He told Israel they'd never see these Egyptians alive again.
That's right.
And God used that darkness, that wall, to make sure they couldn't see the army bearing down on them all night, the next time they saw them.
Dead on the seashore. Promise kept. Completely.
It's total fulfillment.
And there's more. The actual parting of the sea, it involves these two incredible divine acts of separation that echo all the way back to Genesis 1, the creation account.
Okay, connecting redemption back to creation.
Precisely. First, you see the division of light and darkness, just like Genesis 1:2 to 5. It happened right there at the Red Sea, separating the two camps, establishing God's order.
Oh.
Second, you see the division of the waters to reveal dry land. Again, echoes Genesis 1:9. And notice how the text says it happened. God didn't just snap his fingers. No, he used a tool, a strong east wind, all night long. This persistent, powerful wind pushed the waters back and dried the seabed.
So it wasn't instantaneous magic. It was sustained, sovereign effort, divine labor.
Yes. It demonstrates that the same incredible, sustained power God used to create the cosmos is the very power he employs to redeem and protect his people. And think about the Israelites. They had to wait.
All night.
All night long. Watching this wind blow, watching the path slowly emerge. They had to practice that standstill patience before they could go forward. It wasn't until morning that they crossed, on dry ground with the waters piled up like walls on either side.
Incredible. Just incredible. Okay, let's bring this home. This powerful deep dive into ultimate deliverance. What does it mean for you listening right now? You, the believer who's committed to holiness, committed to being separate from the world. We're always being called to live ready, right, to get right daily, anticipating Christ's return.
This story fundamentally teaches that the power over all earthly fear, fear of the enemy, fear of failure, fear of the unknown future, is found in the proper fear of God himself.
And we're not talking about cowering dread.
No, not dread. We mean that awesome, reverent, even joyful trembling before his sheer majesty, his holiness, his eternal authority. That kind of fear, that deep reverence for who God is, paradoxically produces perfect trust.
When you fear God rightly, you stop fearing everything else.
Exactly. And you're compelled toward obedience, toward holiness, because you trust him completely.
And this Red Sea moment, it became the template, didn't it? The paradigm for all future acts of salvation in Israel's history.
It absolutely set the standard. And crucially for us, it powerfully foreshadows Christ's ultimate salvation, his deliverance of us from the crushing slavery of sin and shame. It's no accident Luke actually refers to Jesus' death on the cross as his exodus.
His departure, his deliverance for us.
Yes. Just as God made that impossible path through the sea, he makes the way for us to escape slavery to sin through Christ. We are not meant to be stuck looking back at our past bondage. The command is always forward, into holiness.
So a key takeaway here seems to be, God often allows, even orchestrates, situations that feel way bigger than we can handle.
He does.
And the reason. So we hit the end of our own strength, recognize our total weakness, and are forced to throw ourselves completely onto his power. Not looking back at Egypt, not panicking at the waves in front, but trusting the God who commanded the wind and sea. He will fight your battles today.
That's the promise.
So here's something to really chew on. If Jesus' death and resurrection was the ultimate Red Sea moment for you, freeing you completely from sin's dominion so you could serve God fully, how should the matchless holiness and the eternal authority of that God compel you, right now, today, to maintain your separation from the world, to live a life truly worthy of such an incredible redemption.
That's the challenge. And maybe, as a follow-up, go read Exodus 15, read the song they sang right after they crossed. It's pure, unadulterated praise for this very deliverance.